welcome to battle number 6 of the Victory Road Draft League on the FnF server. This battle is pitting Colin, who is Appletun Allegiance, versus Edgar, who is Canopy Defenders. The B team is Colin, and Krieg is Edgar on Pokemon Showdown. As a reminder, the Mega Pokemon we'll be seeing today are Mega Lopunny and Mega Charizard, both of which will be making an appearance. And the Z Crystal Pokemon we have are Ninetales with any Z move and Talonflame absent on the Appletun Allegiance team. And on the Canopy Defenders team, we have Krookodile with attacking Z moves here, Necrozma with any Z move absent. Some initial thoughts. So it looks like we have Manaphy, who can really pose a threat to the team with Tail Glow. That's the first thing I notice on the Appletun Allegiance team. Manaphy can be boosted perhaps by Rain from its own setup, or even from Greninja. And it could also be supplemented by Aurora Veil from Ninetales. So I think Appletun Allegiance is going to need to set up the Goldilocks conditions for Manaphy to be able to set up a Tail Glow. Once Manaphy Tail Glows, it is a monster and very hard to take down, especially if it has Rest for Hydration. On the other team, Canopy Defenders, we have Mimikyu, a familiar face from some other battles. Mimikyu could set up a Swords Dance or go for some strong moves, so Mimikyu is definitely going to want to preserve that disguise to be able to take down Mega Lopunny or force Manaphy out if its disguise is still up. Also have Krookodile, strong Earthquakes with Moxie can potentially ravage the team. Also, Intimidate can help if Moxie isn't the ability of choice to bring down some of the physical attackers like Mega Lopunny. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Lilligant can do too. Lilligant, really interesting. I think Colin is definitely through the weeks getting more of a hyper offensive rhythm to his playstyle, and his teams are being built a little bit more synergetically. I don't know if that's a word, but they have more synergy definitely. And I think Edgar is showcasing his setup sweeper style here. A lot of the Pokemon on his team wanting to go for a setup, and once they go for a setup, they're really strong. Both have the one lone defensive Pokemon probably to set up Rock, Registeel, and Camerupt, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm really excited to see this battle. Both really strong battlers, people who I've been able to watch their progress and who've come to me to bounce some strategies. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. I think this will be a great battle. So without any further ado, let's begin. I'm anticipating a Camerupt lead from Appletun Allegiance. From Canopy Defenders, maybe we'll see a Registeel lead to set up Rocks, although it might be a little bit tough versus the Camerupt if that's the lead he anticipates. Maybe Garchomp to set up Rocks as well. There are 2 Rock setters on the team. Alright, and out comes Camerupt and Krookodile. Sobek the Krookodile. Camerupt's not going to want to take a strong Earthquake. No Intimidate, so Moxie will be probably the ability we see here. I think that's the only ability it could have. Yeah, Moxie or Anger Point. Ooh, and a Hydro Vortex takes Camerupt out in one shot. Moxie activating, but now Sobek has no item to rely on. Lopunny comes out, and Lopunny is not good for Krookodile because of its fighting type once it Mega Evolves. Krookodile has to decide whether it wants to stay in and risk being Drain Punched or switch out. And Lopunny's probably going to go for the Fake Out. Indeed, there is a Fake Out, and Sobek flinches. Risky to keep Krookodile out, especially since Mega Lopunny outspeeds. Emberhoof observing the fact that Colin's Pokemon are all named after the DK rap, which is true. He did tell me that. So, yeah, pretty amazing there. And a return hits strong, but Superpower is going to take down Mega Lopunny. Crocodile just barely hanging on. Out comes Scizor, probably to send a Bullet Punch to Crocodile. Crocodile has to decide if it wants to switch out or stay in. The rest of the Pokemon on Colin's team are pretty speedy, so I don't know if Crocodile's going to want to stay out or just sacrifice itself. Registeel could actually be a good switch in if Bullet Punch is the predicted move. I was really not surprising Crocodile to survive a return. I was expecting Drain Punch, to be honest. That was... wow, that was a really hype moment there. Very, very close. We're now seeing whether Scizor will go for a finishing move. I think it could probably survive anything that Crocodile throws its way unless it uses Fire Fang. If it uses Fire Fang, then Scizor could be in trouble. Out comes Garchomp, taking that Bullet Punch. Pretty chunky amount of health that was lost, but the Rough Skin is going to hurt Scizor. Sorry, mincing my words there. All right, and out comes Ninetales Alola to take a Fire Blast, which does super effective damage, but doesn't do more than half. So Ninetales Alola can now definitely threaten Garchomp. Who will come out to face this Ninetales Alola, or will Garchomp stay in? I personally don't see Garchomp staying in, considering the weakness to both Fairy and Ice. And Ninetales Alola is faster if it's speed invested. I think it's safe to say we could maybe see a Charizard or Registeel switch in at this point. Indeed, that's what happens. Registeel comes out, and Aurora Veil is set up on Appletun Allegiance's side. Out comes Greninja. Stealth Rock is now up. Greninja is an interesting Pokemon because it's hard to tell what it's going to do. We have the Aurora Veil up for 3 or 6 turns. This is going to determine maybe how... Ooh, and Rain Dance is set up. So we have Aurora Veil and Rain. It looks like Goldilocks conditions if he switches to Manaphy to set up a Tail Glow. Especially considering Registeel went for the Toxic. Manaphy could just shrug off a Toxic if that's the case. Really intense showdown here. And Manaphy comes out. Manaphy gets hit by the Toxic, but Rain is going to cure it because it has Hydration. Manaphy is pretty free to set up a Tail Glow here on the relatively passive Registeel, I'm sorry. And out comes Mimikyu. Mimic. No more Aurora Veil is up. Ooh, and Woodhammer is going to do a big chunk of Manaphy's HP. Manaphy uses Scald to bring down the Disguise, and now Mimikyu is busted. Manaphy's probably not going to want to stay in to take another Woodhammer. I think if Scizor comes out, it can use Bullet Punch to take out the rest of Manaphy without getting hit hard by a move like Woodhammer. Manaphy's big problem here is that Mimikyu is faster than it. It must not be invested in speed. Tough position right now for Colin. And in comes Scizor. Getting hit by Play Rough, but it doesn't do that much damage. A Bullet Punch will do pretty big damage to Mimikyu. Might see Registeel come in again, or Charizard. The big risk here for Scizor is that if Charizard comes in, that is a tough position for Scizor if it uses Bullet Punch. Charizard can come in relatively freely with no Stealth Rock. Some thinking going on both sides here. I don't think Mimikyu is going to want to stay in versus Scizor to take a Bullet Punch. Might be good for Scizor to just U-turn away to pivot to something that'll take the switch in. Really hard mind games here with the predictions. And Bullet Punch hits Registeel, but it doesn't do much. Registeel's taken... Sorry, Registeel is hurt by a U-turn. And in comes Ninetales Alola. Seismic Toss almost bringing Ninetales down. Aurora Veil goes up. And in comes Manaphy. Tough position for Manaphy to be in. Ooh, and Manaphy goes for the rest, healing its HP, being able to take a Seismic Toss like a champ. Registeel will be a formidable foe to take down, though, and Seismic Toss can do some consistent damage over time. In comes Greninja, and out comes Lilligant. Lilligant being hit by the Ice Punch, which deals 83%. And Quiver Dance is set up on Lilligant, Greninja is still protected by an Aurora Veil, but it's not enough to negate that Quiver Dance. Out comes Sizzler, just barely hanging on with 2%. Bullet Punch is going to bring down Lilligant to low HP, but Lilligant's able to take out Sizzler. And Manaphy's left sleeping. This is not good for Manaphy. And a Giga Drain takes Manaphy down, causing Lady to give the victory to Edgar. 6-0 win for the Canopy Defenders. Really intense battle. Colin did do a lot of good strategies to set Manaphy up. I think in the end, the big thing that really foiled that plan was Mimikyu. Mimikyu having the ability to do massive damage to Manaphy. And I think also the fact that Manaphy didn't have speed investment really hurt Manaphy, because if Manaphy had speed investment, it would have been able to go before Mimikyu and potentially sweep the whole team. But because Mimikyu went first, Manaphy was not able to hit with a Scald. So that's definitely something that I think Colin will keep in mind for future matches, making sure that Manaphy can outspeed some of the opponents, because you really want to be going first once you set that tail glow up. But overall, a really fun, interesting match to watch, and I think both sides played really well. Lots of Pokemon were brought down to low HP on Edgar's side, and so even though it was a 6-0, it was a closer 6-0 than I think it seems. So really good match, and tune in for the last match of week number 4 coming up, and I'll see you then.